thank you, Joel. We got one other question? All right, one other question, then that's...
All right, so make it a good one.
All right.
Hi, I hope it's good. There are almost 180,000 public housing units in the city of New York. I read in a New York paper, I think it was Cranes, that 22,000 NYCHA apartments are uninhabited
How many?
because 22,000 because they are in disrepair. Number one, is that 22,000 empty apartments correct? And then number two, does NYCHA have the funds to fix those apartments, which is where you can house the homeless people?
Okay. So, you know where you got that data?
Yeah, I think.
From my audit.
Okay.
Okay? So that was mine. So let me tell you what the audit said. The audit said that it's not 22,000. It's more like 2,200. But that is still, but that's not 22,000. It's 2,200. But by the way, there shouldn't be one vacancy in a NYCHA development, right? Not one, right? Some of those units have been vacant for 5 to 10 years. It's outrageous, because think about that. Think about that. If you added 1,000, 1,500, 1,800 people with families, that's thousands of people who could move out of shelter tomorrow. And I have demanded that they make those repairs. Now, I like your question because you're also asking me, so what's the solution as it relates to...
So are they funded for those?
Well, let me say, there has been a federal divestment of public housing. There's been a state divestment. But I want to leave you with something because I'd like you to help me with this. One of the things, everybody knows where Battery Park City is in Manhattan, right downtown. That development project throws off a tremendous amount of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, that traditionally has gone to housing programs with HPD in the city. We've had a proposal that said, why don't we take some of that money and move it to make those repairs at NYCHA so that we can repair the apartments, make the repairs so the whole housing system doesn't collapse. And if we put $40 million a year for 10 years, knowing it was gonna go to help the people who are struggling the most, who would object? So how do we get this done? It takes 3 people to get it done. It takes the city controller who sits on the board. It was my idea, so I said yes. It takes Governor Cuomo, because he's on the board. He says he'd vote yes. We gotta ask Mayor de Blasio to take this money and say yes, and then we can move hundreds of millions of dollars to the people who are struggling and are one step away from being homeless. Let me say this. I'm very glad I came tonight. I'm glad that we were able to talk
Mr.
directly.
Stringer, excuse me, I'm sorry. I was invited out here by the Juniper Park Association, and I thank you for coming out here. We braved you this rain to come out here to hear what you had to say about the shelter, homeless shelters and hotels. Now, if you look around this room, many of us bought our homes, and we bought into the American dream. I was thwarted from having to ask a question. Now, this is what we get from our elected officials.
What's the question?
The question is, since no one can stop these homeless shelters or these hotels from being built, then is there a provision maybe that you can protect us, our quality of our homes, so they will not diminish in value?
No. I don't know the provision.
Well, is there anything that can be done? Because when they come in, from my understanding, when a shelter comes into the community, our value drops at least 20%. Now, if I'm wrong, correct me.
I have not
This
seen.
is what I'm talking about. See, the community comes out, we're concerned, we have to
Can
live around, because they keep stopping me.
I tell you, you have a long agenda tonight, you have a candidate tonight.
I understand
I've come
that.
here tonight, this is my last question. I want to say thank you to the community for inviting me. What'd you say?
No, don't yell out. Don't yell out. You're out of order. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No more questions. We can't ask.
We were doing so well.
Yes, I'm sorry,
You
brother.
should have. For those of you, I want to say thank you for inviting me. I look forward to working with you on some of these issues, and I thank you for having
Thank you
me.
very
Thank you
much.
very much. Thank you.